chat where we're going to talk about all things Livepeer, whether it's orchestrating, delegating, or broadcasting. This is the place where we can ask questions, learn from each other, and invite new people and talk about technical things, broad things, and all things about Livepeer. So if you're watching us on the live stream, we're streaming this on beam.xyz. And if you're in Discord with us, then it's great to have you. And we'll go through the regular topics for today. So what we'll do is we'll do introductions and as well as a topic that everyone has. So if you can think of a topic, this could be a question that you have or just a general conversation piece that you want to talk about, please just think of it now, put it in your head, so when I come around to you, you have a topic to share. So I'll start with my introduction, and then we'll go down the list. So hello, everyone. I'm Nightnode. I run the Nightnode pool. I've been operating since May of 2021. And today, my topic is about auto-patching the Nvidia cards. For the pool software, I thought it would be interesting to allow users to just, have the software detect whether you have a patched card or not. And if you don't, maybe just create a Python script that auto updates their driver and then patches the driver for you. I know someone in chat had mentioned you could probably do it with Linux quite easily, but most of my transcoders are on Windows, so that's probably who I'm going to be targeting. So I guess for people who are out there who do Python stuff or might have an idea on how to do this, then that'll be my topic. So yeah, auto patching drivers. Okay, and we'll go down the list. Frank with Ultima Ratio, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Yeah, good evening. I'm Frank. I'm running Ultima Ratio node with Sienna, my wife, since May 21, and I have no particular topic tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us, Frank. Sundara, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hi guys, my name is Avi. I run the orchestrator called Sundara. I have no questions for today's chat. Just wanted to catch up with the community.
Great to see you again, Avi. It's been a while. I'm glad to see that you're with us, and yeah, can't wait to hear about some of your updates. Thanks for joining us. Papa Bear, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic? Unless Papa Bear is in the live stream. Steffi says hi. Well, there you go. Hi, hello, Steffi. Papa Bear, are you with us? I don't hear you. I see you're unmuted, so there you go. I suspect it's one of this Discord things. I don't know why it does that. Papa Bear, you with us? I need my Papa Bear with me. And he leaves again. He'll probably be back very shortly. I'm sure he'll be back. We'll move on in the meantime. Jjassonn, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey guys, I'm Jjassonn. I'm running Average Node Orchestrator, and well, it's been almost a year now. Nothing special today, just listening in. Maybe if I come with some questions, I can ask them later.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Great to have you. And by the way, good job on the rebranding of the Everest node. I love the name. It's very, very cool. Yeah, there we go. Vires, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey, I'm running the Vires Numeris orchestrator since early 2019. And as usual, no specific topic from my side.
Just listening in. Very good. Thank you so much for joining us, Vires. Ftkuhnsman, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey, Joey with Ftkuhnsman out here. I am just listening in today.
Just listening. Very cool. Thank you for joining us, Joey. Oshi, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Oshi from Soul Time Labs. I saw that y'all were a Graph Day sponsor and wanted to reach out to chat a little bit about reputation, because my team is working on developing ways for protocols and communities to sort of generate their own reputation systems. And so I reached out in Discord and got some pretty good feedback from Authority Null and Nightnode and Dob, and they said I should come here. So yeah, really just kind of curious, looking to hear from the community about just their ideas and thoughts on the topic, and if they have any ideas, specifically on what that might look like.
Very cool. Glad to have you, Oshi. And yeah, the reputation subgraphs. I think you mentioned that earlier. I'd love to hear a little bit about the ideas behind that, and we can definitely get into that topic. So thank you, sir, very much for joining us for the first time. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. Chase Media, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hi everyone, it's Rebecca here with Chase Media, and I just wanted to come and say hello because I haven't been able to talk to anyone for a bit. But yeah, I run the Chase Media Node, have done so for about 2.5 months, and I'm finally getting winning tickets, so I'm proud to announce. I don't really have a topic. I might, if anyone wants to chime in on the question I had in Discord about the performance scores. My Orchestrator node and others, I believe, weren't receiving test streams, and it sounds like there was an issue with the code. Papa Bear enlightened me on that, but if anyone has anything to share about that point, I'd be keen to hear. But I understand hopefully this week it might be fixed. Other than that, I'm here to listen. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us, Rebecca. And yeah, I'm curious to see what the update is with that performance score issue. So hopefully we can get to the bottom of that. So thank you very much for joining us. Papa Bear, are you with us?
I think I am now. You guys can hear me?
Papa Bear, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and a topic?
Sure, I am Papa Bear. I run the solar farm orchestrator. And as far as the topic, I don't really have a specific Livepeer topic, but I did try and go into the Beem feed, and I can't get it to work. So I don't know if that's why I couldn't talk earlier, but I wasn't working over there either. So I don't know what the issue is, but I am curious to see that at some point. But yeah, no specific topic, but I'm always happy to chime in.
Interesting. Yeah. Are you not able to get in because of does it give you an error, or is it
Yeah, I get an error. It starts to load some stuff. I mean, I just closed it because I thought maybe that's why I couldn't speak in here, but it was the same thing that happened to me last week. It just starts to load some stuff. It says it's like loading the I think chat and then video, and then it just says there was an error. I mean, I can try it again and let you. Actually, I think I actually posted it last time, so I could probably just find what it was. But same issue I was having last week.
I'm kind of curious, Authority, if you're watching this, could you let me know how the stream quality is? Because I actually upped the frame rate from 30 to 60 frames per second. So I'm kind of curious about the quality of it with the increased frame rate. Plus, you got to feed those orchestrators some tickets somehow, right? You got to.
Yeah. So it says something went wrong with the player, and then leaves me at that. And then there was an option to just, I guess, use just the player or something like that. And when I click that, I start to see the beginning of it, and then it just goes into an error. So I don't really expect anyone in here to know what's wrong with it, but I know everyone else is not having problems with it. So I'm sure it's something on my end. But yeah, I was curious to just see how it works.
Have you tried on like an app store, like iOS app? Have you tried to download that?
Well, I don't have any iOS devices, so no. But I'm just trying to use like whatever, like I'm not downloading anything. I'm just doing it through my browser. And
yeah,
is there an app for it? I mean, I don't even know that.
I think there's a Google Play app as well. If you have, if you're that kind of person, if you swing that way, yeah, there's a. But
I'm not much of an app person in general, so I usually do things through the browser. It's supposed to work like that, right? Through the browser?
Yes, actually. In fact, we have 7 people watching. Ben says on my phone at the moment, so it's hard to tell. Yeah, so people are definitely watching on their apps. Although, to be honest, we had that great chat with Jjassonn a while back where he said downloading apps is the way of the past. Everything should be basically browser-based. No one wants to download apps anymore. And I think that's true. And I think that Livepeer is great because you can deliver stuff through the browser using Livepeer technology. So hopefully Beem can fix that. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna guess it's something specific to me since I'm the only one that has that problem, and it's not uncommon for me to have problems with just chat programs in general. I mean, I can't get Google what's the Google Hangouts thing to work. So I think I just have my some kind of privacy setting just cranked up too high, but I can never seem to undo it when I need to.
yeah, either way, we're happy to have you, Papa Bear. Thank you so much for joining us as being an OG.
Happy to be here.
OG helper of Titan and all his little questions he asked. So thank you so much. And yeah, great to have you. Ryan with Nightnode, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic? Ryan, you with us? Because if you are, your mic is not working, sir. And you better not be hooked up to your Bluetooth audio in your car anymore. You need to stop doing that. But I will let you figure out what's going on because it's not working. So I'll move on. Strong like Bull. Strong, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey, yep, this is, name's Martin, and we're a new orchestrator. I've got my partner in here too, Monitor. He's in listen-only mode in the audience, but we've been active, I guess, for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. So no topic at this point, just in listen and learn mode for us, but glad to be here.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining. And yes, I did get your application for the startup grant, and it looks like you got everything completed there. So we'll give you an update shortly on how that all, the status of the next step.
Okay, thanks for that, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us. Cool.
Hey, before you move on, I did think of a topic. If I can jump in.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just curious to know when we get back around to it, how everyone's streams have been over the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I've noticed a change in mine. It's been down considerably for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm just wondering how everyone else's are. So that's my topic is how are your streams over the last few weeks?
Very good. We'll definitely jump into that. It's a great topic. Should probably be like a regular topic of every week. I think that's a good one. Also, Ftkuhnsman, he said he's just listening, but really I have to add arb node to the list of topics because he's not allowed to get away from that.
Of course.
Yeah, it's his permanent topic from now on. Cool. Ryan, you're at Nightnode. You with us?
There we go.
There you
Can
go.
you hear me now?
Yeah, you actually sound amazing. So go ahead and introduce yourself and a topic.
My name is Ryan. I'm home today, so I'm not on my car. I don't really have a topic, but yeah, my name's Ryan.
Just listening in. Very good. Great to have. You know, the day you get a really nice microphone, you sound so great, is the day that you don't have a topic.
I have nothing
for
to
us.
say.
Oh my goodness. Irony at its finest. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll get into it. Eliteproxy, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey, this is John with Eliteproxy, or Elite Encoder Node. We've been operating since around October of last year. I'm mostly just listening today. I'll be popping in and out a little bit, but I have been working on these netint cards, trying to get them to run. I've sent one off to my Linux node, and I'm still trying to get it to work on Windows. But maybe a little discussion around that.
Very cool. Yes, I'm kind of curious as to how far you've gotten. So, yeah, great topic and great to have you. Okay, great. I don't believe I missed anyone. If I did, just let me know now. But we got quite a few people in here today. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. Let's start with the topic of actually the newest person that has joined us today and is coming in as a guest. Oshi, you are with Soulbound Labs. Why don't you go ahead and start us off with a bit about your topic, your background, and what brings you here today, and I guess what the purpose of this reputation subgraphs are and what you're working on.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds great. Where to start? Well, I mean, I guess me personally, born and raised in Santa Cruz, California, as is my founder, Jordan, and co-founder Connor. Been down the crypto rabbit hole for quite a number of years now, but only recently entered the space in, like a more like dedicated professional kind of format. So it's been super, super exciting for me. Been learning a ton and just super eager and inspired to kind of kick off this whole reputation thing. And I think a big part of it, I mean, Jordan and Connor, like, they had this idea together. They actually met playing volleyball, and, we're both interested in the space and into the graph protocol specifically, which is, if you're not familiar with the graph, it's a query protocol for querying blockchains and IPFS. And so you can essentially like I'm also not a super technical person, so forgive me if I misspeak at all on this, but you can basically create subgraphs using the graph protocol that can scan the blockchain for very specific events or different types of data, and feed that back when you ask it questions about that. And so they had this idea that could be an interesting way to essentially track user behavior or like behavior from certain addresses on the blockchain, identify noteworthy events like contributions that they were making, and award badges for that. So that's kind of how it started out, and a lot of it is, coming from the desire to get away from the sort of hyper financialization that's taken over the space. And I know Vitalik has spoken a lot on that, and it's something that I feel like many of us are interested in, but how specifically to do that is a much tougher question. So this is sort of really just kind of about opening up that dialogue, and what does that look like?
Very question. Has anyone else here seen the stuff they're doing on at the graph with reputation-based stuff? I've seen some announcements, but has anyone else seen anything with that?
Have it.
Yeah, so I'm really actually quite curious about it because it's a relatively new thing. Is it, Oshi?
Yep.
So yeah, I really like this stuff going on. Is Soulbound Labs are you I guess indexer or curator for the graph protocol?
No, we neither of those things. I mean, we definitely not an indexer. We have curated and delegated on the network, and we have a subgraph on the network. But so what we're building right now is essentially a no-code, low-code GUI for communities to build their own reputation subgraphs, and those subgraphs would then be, essentially published on the Graphs network and indexed, and just like anything else. But those subgraphs could then essentially be, the conduits for awarding these badges, and getting those badges back on chain is a separate thing. And basically we have this thing also that we're building and is pretty much done called the Subgraph Bridge, which can compress all of that data that's spit out by the subgraph, compress it into a Merkle root, and put it back on chain in Merkle form. And then that can be, essentially unpacked in order to verify that these badges were indeed, awarded for things that actually happened, essentially.
I can see how that could actually fit really well into like Livepeer or like live streaming services. Like you could get badges, on-chain badges for watching certain amount of live streams or like contributing the most to content. Is that kind of the idea behind it?
Yeah, I mean it's exciting because there's so many possibilities. There's so many different directions that you could go with it, and it's a way you can totally incentivize users and consumers with it to like award them badges for participating and engaging, and you can also award these badges to, I mean, so like I don't know, a ton about, like, not much at all really about how the Livepeer network functions, but I know Dob kind of had some just ideas off the top of his head. He was like, well, you could award badges for stake / delegate, delegation, for running an orchestrator node, depositing broadcast funds, Merkle mining, I guess, which he was thinking would be like more OG badge. So yeah, all those kind of things. I mean, I know a lot about the graph network, and so we've put a lot of thought too into, what sort of badges would be beneficial in that network. I mean, one use case is, this sort of centralization that's going on where the mega large cap indexers, attract the most delegation because they bring in the most rewards. And so that runs into like a little bit of a centralization issue. So you can actually award badges to delegators who delegate with smaller stake indexers to help decentralize the network essentially.
Yeah, definitely. For anyone that doesn't know, obviously Livepeer is built upon, we use the graph extensively for all of our basically querying of data. Like if our Livepeer Explorer uses the graph, anytime we want to look up data about an orchestrator, we use the graph. Like, Livepeer is built on top of the graph in a lot of ways, which is really cool. So now they're offering more tools to protocols like us, which is really interesting. I think as also, like, because I run a pool, I'm wondering if I could utilize a reputation-based subgraph to like award people pool prizes, right? Like just like little like competition, like not competitions, but yeah, OG badges, uptime badges, all these kinds of things that you get a little badge beside your name in the pool list. Yeah,
you absolutely could.
Yeah,
you absolutely could do that.
You can almost do like a because there's an uptime portion for my pool. You get more rewards if you have more uptime, but then maybe there'd be like an award for like consistent uptime, like no outages, some sort of badge for consistency. Although that's getting really fancy, I don't know if I need to go that far yet, but
yeah, sure. Well, I mean, yeah, it's great. I mean, I love that, just kind of exploring the possibilities, and of course, it's often best just to start with the most simple use cases. But really, I mean, anyone could build a reputation subgraph for anything, and that's kind of the cool, exciting part about it. I think, so we don't want to, like shape the direction that it goes much at all. But what we do want to do, I think, is do enough research and talk to enough people that we can get a sense for like what people are interested in, and so that we can kind of tailor the tools to best meet those needs. I guess, it's interesting that individuals can really create reputation subgraphs for whatever, but I think what we were thinking was that, these could be like collaborative sort of subgraphs. And, I would love to show off the, kind of the tools so you could actually see what it looks like. I don't think that's possible to do right now. So you just have to kind of picture it. But essentially you can, there's a GUI and you can look at, all of the event types and the data, and metrics associated with those. And you can use that to sort of define the thresholds for when these badges would be awarded hypothetically. And, that's just kind of the process for creating like the Genesis reputation subgraph for a protocol or whatever else you want the subgraph to be for. But yeah, given that it is, a protocol that's intended to represent a subgraph that's intended to represent a protocol, that essentially Genesis subgraph can be forked and iterated upon and changed and adapted over time, as you learn about it and what works, what doesn't work as the protocol itself develops and changes. And so like the specific process for how those subgraphs are kind of minted in a way, or approved by the community. That's something that we're still kind of considering, and we're building out, kind of like a voting platform similar to Snapshot. And yeah, I mean, there's different, you could go so many places with it. The reputation used from the subgraph, from the badges that are awarded by the subgraph could be used also in governance. So I think it makes sense really right now to keep it kind of grounded at the social layer, just to kind of kick things off. But over time, these badges could, because they are non-transferable NFTs that are awarded, could be used for different types of incentives, percentage, kind of increases, whatever trading stuff, fee reduction, that sort of thing, under collateralized loans, for like DeFi space, and also governance power.
Very cool.
Yeah, so those are just all the ideas, but it's really, again, I'm super eager and curious to just hear from, anybody that has anything to say on that, and, concerns, fears, worries, ideas, like possibilities. Super open.
Does anyone have any questions for Oshi? I know it's a bit off topic. I mean, this is more about the graph protocol, and if you're not familiar with the graph, I mean, it's but like obviously the graph, we work quite closely with them. Super awesome community over there. So we always welcome other people from different communities, especially for ones that are just awesome in general, especially on the technical side. So yeah, Oshi, either way, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, it's really, really awesome to hear from you. Yeah, does anyone have any questions for Oshi? Very cool. I know I threw you on the spot, Oshi. I didn't mean to, actually. Being like a first guest, usually I should have, I didn't even think of it. I should have probably put you like third in line or something, just so you get the flow of the conversation. But you did well. Like, it's awesome to have you here. So yeah,
no worries at all. Yeah, no expectations, and I apologize if I derailed the meeting at all. It's definitely not my intention, and I know you all have flow going that you're used to, and that was probably not totally within that flow.
No, it was perfect. It was perfect. Yeah, it's awesome. So,
cool,
but anyway, I'll change gears a little bit and move on to a different topic. So, but I will like to talk near the end of the meeting. If you do stick around, I'd like to talk about the graph day that's coming up and get some details on that. So, yeah, we'll dive into that later. Cool. Next, we'll talk about Chase Media. Chase, you talked about, you're winning tickets now, but your performance score is not working. And I see on the performance board, if I look at that, other people are having issues. Can you just explain what you're seeing and what you found out so far?
Oh, hi. Yes. So basically, my performance has been at 0 for quite some time, actually. And I wasn't sure, at one point, I wasn't sure if that was the LAX server or not, but from my understanding, my orchestra wasn't either being sent test streams or wasn't receiving them. Therefore, it looked like it wasn't online at all in terms of from the test stream side, which I don't know how that's affected any of the work I've received or anything. Maybe it's solely a test stream system. But obviously, it just shows on the Livepeer Explorer that I don't perform. So it's just been sat like that. And apparently, it's possibly from the upgrade to layer 2 that this has occurred. And Papa Bear sent a great update on it that somebody is correcting the code that should then adjust the orchestrators that are having the same issue. So I'm waiting for that to come out. If I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do something or if anyone else has any experience or feedback from this, would be really great to learn about it, please.
I don't have any experience with this myself, but I definitely know that other orchestrators have had the issue. And I think I saw this morning just an update come through on one of the topics that it's been fixed, and they're going to start rolling it out this week, and to expect it to be across all regions by the end of the week. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know what the issue was. I don't remember what the issue was. It may have been in the they may have listed what it was, but I do know that it's been identified and supposedly rolling out this week, and again with the intent of having it all completely rolled out by the end of the week. But that's just from what I've read, not from any inside knowledge I have.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
I wish I had more, but that's what I have.
No, you were super helpful with what you did send. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think the performance board's really helpful, but at the same time, can be difficult because it doesn't seem to work perfectly all the time. Although big shout out to Authority Null, Papa Bear, and Nightnode in this channel for being like 9.99 score with 100% success rate globally. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple other people that have really high scores, but it literally, like, they're just sitting at 0 because it's not like registering. Like I know there's a lot of orchestrators on here that are literally at 0, which is unfortunate. But while we're here, big shout out to those orchestrators for, like, I don't even know how you get that highest score. That's crazy.
Come a long way from being on the second page.
Right. I remember when I first joined, I really wanted to beat Vires because he was the top dog, and then I finally beat him with my geolocating DNS scheme, and then I wrote a blog post, and then everyone did it, and I was like, ah, dang it. So, but I
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And Vires still kicks all of our asses. So really, how important is that score, right?
Yeah,
that's very true. Either way, yeah, good job, everyone.
That is the other thing, though. The other thing to consider is that the test scores really are just kind of so that we know that for us to know that we're working, and that our nodes are working. But again, it's not a perfect thing because people are still working even if they're showing that they're not. But they have again, for the people that don't know or that are newer, that they have no bearing on whether or not you receive work. No bearing directly. It's indicative that you will that you will get more work if you if you do perform well, but it's not factored into any of the selection algorithm. So there's take that for what it's. But if you don't have a good score, just remember that it really doesn't affect whether or not you're getting work. If you have having a good score or a bad score for that matter.
Yeah, very true. Because Chase Media, big shout out to Chase as well for getting like through 2 tickets today, and then maybe like a ticket and a 2, but she was way behind on tickets, and hopefully she's starting to catch up. I know other people have felt this pain.
Oh, I think we've all been there. Yes, congratulations on your tickets.
Thank you. It's very exciting. I was sort of giving up there a little bit there, believing a bit of hope, but yes, it seems that it works. So it's wonderful. Thank you.
On that note, let's shift gears over to Papa Bear's topic. Let's talk about streams in the last 2 weeks. What have you been seeing, Papa Bear, and what would you like to learn from others?
Well, I'm curious to know just on average, like how are other people finding their stream count to be just compared to, I guess, where you were like maybe a month ago, assuming that everything else on your setup has stayed the same. I've had no real changes in my setup, both stake-wise or performance-wise, and I used to average my average, I would do it over 7 days and then divide it by 7, and it was like really steady at 12,500 tickets for a long time, and then it just slowly started trickling down, and now I'm looking and I'm like at 8,000 tickets for a day average. So it's down quite a bit, and it's been like that for like probably close to 3 weeks now. So when I look and I see just the overall number of streams, or I guess the estimated minutes, seems to be about the same. You know, nothing like dramatic, like or nothing that would match up to what I'm seeing for myself. So I don't know if I'm just getting unlucky, or are other people seeing that? I'm assuming not everyone could be seeing that, or the numbers, you know, on the Explorer would be way down. But if anyone has any comments on that, I'd like to hear just kind of what you're seeing.
Well, don't everyone jump in at once, all right? Okay, well, I'll start, and then hopefully someone else will get ready to unmute their mic and follow me. I'm at 9,000 tickets a day, and it looks like I've been consistently like that since May 8th, because this is as far back as my Prometheus logs go. So yeah, I mean, mine's been pretty steady. Other than the small outage because of the Arbitrum node, which I didn't even fix. I just let it ride and gave my faith to Ftkuhnsman, and he pulled through. It was a pretty small outage. Yeah, mine's been pretty steady, but also just a lot less. Like this time last year, one node out of Chicago, I was getting about 25, 30 streams. So I feel like there's just a lot more high-performing orchestrators that are just sharing the work.
Yeah, and I even before this, I definitely noticed that my stream count tends to be on the lower side, but I would have I think better quality streams. Again, don't know if that's was just a chance thing. I mean, because there were times in the past where I would have a much higher average count, but even with a lower count, I was getting, you know, more tickets that were coming in and more, you know, a higher estimated daily income. So I just thought that was kind of a little interesting tidbit there. So I was wondering, maybe that's another question, is have anyone noticed that there's like the streams they're getting maybe are higher value than they used to be, or just if anyone has a comment on that too, that would be interesting to hear. Or if anyone even pays attention to that, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I feel like Papa Bear's got monitors in his bedroom, and he just sits there before he goes to bed, looking at how many tickets he's getting.
I mean, I used to, but I will say I definitely am not as bad as I used to be. But yeah, I went through some stages where I probably knew way too much about the streams I was getting or not getting.
Impossible.
Well, I'm getting like I think they've been pretty consistent, like during the last month, the number of sessions and those number of tickets that I'm getting. I did notice that I'm getting less EU traffic than like maybe, let's say, 4 or 5 months ago. But yeah, and I also don't have an LA node, so I only have like New York and EU. But yeah, during the last month or so, those streams have been pretty consistent.
Actually, now that you bring that up, I have a Frankfurt node. I mean, I have an EU node also, but my Frankfurt node, which basically just does Frankfurt, has just been like, maybe that's what the difference has been, because I've gotten almost no work on that node at all. A little bit in the last like 2 days, but that used to be like, you know, that in New York used to kind of trade for me, like which one was the highest performing. And I mean, again, until the last 2 days, like Frankfurt was basically just done it. Like, I could have just had nothing there, and it would have been the same score. So,
EU's been low. I mean, I have Frankfurt, London, you know, Prague, all of that stuff going to my one EU node, and I'm down to like 0.343 for average. And at some points, I was up to like 3, 2.5, 3 on average throughout the day. So it's definitely less than it's been in a while.
yeah, I'm wondering if that's an ingest thing or if it's just as traffic has moved around.
Yeah, I was getting like during the last 7 days, I was getting 9 streams on average on EU, and maybe like half a year ago or so, that was, I don't know, in the 40s or so. And right now I'm getting, I average 35 on the US, on New York. So that's just like it's 3 times more on US than on EU for me.
And what do you have a gut feeling on if you think EU's not working the way it should, or do you think traffic should just move to the to more towards the US?
I mean, I honestly don't really know because as soon as I set up my US node, I mean, that was one of the reasons why I even considered setting up a US node because the streams on EU were getting lower and lower. And ever since then, like US just took over. So I can't really say if the streams shifted to US or if US was always this high. But yeah, EU is definitely lower, but I don't know the reasons for that. Maybe more high performing nodes, maybe less streams on EU.
Yeah, too bad there's no way for us to really to be able to know that stuff. It's also I guess it also goes back to that just not knowing if a node's down sometimes is I don't even know the right word for it, but it's just not frustrating isn't the right word, but just it would be nice to be able to know like more accurately if there's a problem with an ingest node, just for our own peace of mind to know like, I wonder, you know, is it, usually I don't think it's something that I'm doing, but it would be nice to be able to, I guess, let the team know that that nodes aren't working, or if they had, that would be nice actually if they had monitoring that could detect the just low usage or lower than expected usage, and let it either let us know somehow, like through the status page, or just even for them to internally know, and maybe if they have to reboot something, or but yeah, overall, yeah, I've just been noticing that my stream counts down to like what is that, 50%? Not, yeah, about 50% from where it was. So
is there
yeah.
is there reporting on total number of streams by Livepeer, just globally total number of streams, and then broken down into the different regions? Just out of curiosity, from a new person, that would be.
It's not
obvious.
publicly available.
Okay.
If that information exists, it's not publicly available.
Got it. All right. Well, that doesn't help our cause then.
Yeah, exactly. So just last question then on this. So would everyone else say that their streams seem to be about the same over the last 3 weeks as they have been before that? Anyone?
I'm averaging 5 streams, and Papa Bear, I suspect you've already seen my dashboard because I share it with everyone. But yes, mine look normal.
Yeah, yours I have peaked at, and it does seem. It seems like actually you dropped down for a while, then yours have been picking back up, maybe a little bit over that time.
I also got an influx of stake.
Yeah, and that's also another reason why it was kind of hard to use you as someone to judge off of, because I was like, I mean, would your stake like almost tripled or around tripled?
Yeah, it tripled in one go in one day. So yeah, that would affect the amount of streams I get.
Yeah, that's why because I did look at yours, and I did notice that you were getting more streams, but I think in the past you used to get even more streams than I've been noticing when I do check yours. So yeah, I was just curious. So
yeah, Papa, just for your reference, I mean, I've been doing it since February, and I have transcoders all around, all the ingest nodes, and I think when I started, I was getting 1 or 2 streams. Recently, I probably averaged 3 streams, but at one point I see, there will be bursts come in. I'll get like 15 streams, spread out through my nodes, and then they'll just evaporate. Like Chicago stays constant for me. I get, 3 streams all day pretty much there. New York, very little bit, but not a lot. And then forget London, Singapore, Frankfurt, I get like nothing. I mean, if I get 1 stream, Singapore, I get a single stream most of the day aside from test streams. Like nothing comes through there. And, just as a reference point.
Singapore, so I think, tends to be a weird one. I will say that. Like that one's like one where like, I mean, I think most people agree on this one. Like they don't get a lot of streams there, but they do tend to get like higher value streams. And if one sticks for a little bit, they usually kind of like balances out. Like it's not like it's the greatest location, but usually it has more value than what it would seem to be if you just go by stream count, which I don't usually use stream count as my judge of how much work I'm getting, again, because it just, I mean, like I had a long 1080p stream come in to LA yesterday, and like I got like triple the amount of tickets that I would normally get in LA just yesterday. But other than that, it's pretty consistent there. So like just you get those 1080p streams coming in the multi resolution, and that really changes things. So I don't actually usually look at my stream count too much. I mean, it's always nice when you see like something in the high double digits, but that seems to be rare.
I get worried when I see zeros all the time. That's when I be freaking out, because is it my node making problems or is it ingest problems? Like, and that's where I've been. Like a bunch of nodes just have been at zero recently, just not doing anything. And I'm in there checking logs and scrambling, trying to figure out what's going on, but really hard to tell. And with
I've
all the
had
recent instability, it just makes it even harder.
Yeah, I've had quite a bit of those over this last like 3-week period, and I used to like, oh man, restart, check this and that, and it never made a difference. So now I just let it run, and it doesn't seem to matter whether I restart them or not.
Yeah, I don't do anything necessarily.
For what it's worth.
I just like start wondering, like, is there something happening? And I go out looking just to check to see, and I'm chasing down red herrings all the time, but I don't know. On occasion, like that, like when the ARB node went down, I saw
was gonna say,
like I
that's
was
what I was
on
gonna
that
say.
when that happened, right? Like I was all over that when that happened.
Yeah, if
everybody else was.
if the ARB node's up and you have zero, chances are you're just having a lull and there's nothing you can do about it. At least that's what I found on my end, because I used to be like, oh man, let's restart this thing, something's wrong, and then I was like, yeah, that didn't fix anything, and I've just learned that if you do happen to notice the ARB node's down, obviously that's gonna be something that you want to switch over to another one. But that's been pretty stable lately, so shout out to Ftkuhnsman for that one. I haven't had any problems with that over the last week at all.
Hoorah!
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. And every time it goes down or has an issue, I have been able to figure out what the problem is and put in a fix. So hopefully the outages happen less and less frequently, and
I will say,
issues get solved.
Do you now have two different L1 providers? Because I think the last time that was the problem, right? The L1 went out. Both nodes were using the same.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process right now of spinning up another full node. I'm just trying to add redundancy here. So yeah, that was the issue. It was an L1 layer issue. Can't use Gethlite nodes. And then not have a failover. I had a full node set up for failover, but it had some type of issue. So
right
now I have two.
And then yeah. Okay, so you have two full nodes now. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say that poked. What is it? Pocket, not poked. Pocket.
Yeah.
That one worked shockingly well when we were using that on the one that I share with Nightnode. I don't think we had any problems with that one ever.
Well, I got a ton of redundancy set up now because the node will try all of or both of the full nodes, and then if neither of those respond, it will go to Alchemy, Infura. Those are the only two I have set up right now, but it doesn't seem to make that many calls on L1, at least not very frequently. So I don't think, even using like Alchemy or Infura, I don't think it would hit a rate limit issue. But got the full node set up either way.
Yeah, well, it's been working great the last week or so. So yeah, I've been happy with it.
Yeah, it's been amazing on my Redeemer node. It's just like the only thing showing up on my Redeemer node is like a whole page of just reward calls, which has never ever happened. It's usually mixed in with like errors coming back from like Alchemy or Infura being like you're being rate limited, and like for once it looked like so clean with no errors, and I was like, wow, it actually works really well. So
and you were approved for that, right? For the like they agreed to fund that, right?
Yes,
Oh
they
wait,
agreed to
it's
fund it.
deductible from.
What's that?
Ryan, your mic's on.
Okay, well, yeah, they have agreed to fund it. Scheduling time with the Livepeer team to discuss the specifics there. Get paid, make sure we've got a decent plan moving forward for how this is going to work. They've offered to help provide support too with code review and everything else there. So they're all for it. I am going to be coming up with. I don't know what the solution is going to be yet, but their request is that I make it open source, which I don't have a problem doing. But right now, the service is basically built into the Ftkuhnsman website, so I had to figure out how to split that off, split that, so I'm not making my entire website open source. But
so they want your API, the API, to be open source. So that's the main issue, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything else is pretty much open source. Right.
Yeah.
All the other parts of it.
Yeah. Well, and I have the inner workings of a graph API as well. That's part of the service, and the ARB node API queries that to determine, who active orchestrators are, active broadcasters, delegators, all that stuff. So I'll leave that in there because as time goes on, I might ask for, additional grant funds to build that out and make it usable for everybody if there's a desire or need. But yep.
Well, cool. I'm glad to hear that Livepeer is going to pay for that. So I can probably drop the node that Ryan and I are splitting right now and just let Livepeer pick up the bill on that. So awesome.
Yeah, and it just as a side thing, generally, for example, with the grant that I had, when I requested that that expand the balance on it, so I can bring in external, community members for it, and they were just hard set against doing anything like that. They were like, if you thought that it was necessary, you should do it in the beginning when you're requesting it, not after the fact. So it might be a little bit of a lift for them to get them to approve that later on. So if you expect the cost, you might want to try to at least be upfront about it, that it may expand to a certain, this later on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's part of what I want to talk to that team about, just seeing the issues that have come up so far. I mean, clearly the need for redundancy is important, and every additional node, whether it be L1 or L2 spun up, has more costs associated with it. So
yeah, with I forget what her name was, but when we did the meeting, she was saying this should have been all you should for example, all your troubleshooting, you should have figured that out beforehand. And Hunter was like, but it's kind of hard to accurately gauge the future of troubleshooting and what your hurdles might be especially when you're coding things out. So definitely there's a little bit of disconnect on what your future work might be.
Well, that's why I always said, I gave, Ftkuhnsman the advice to basically, you want a finite set of scope, right? You don't want to go in with all these long running, open-ended projects, right? You want to say this project for this amount you're getting X, Y, and Z. And if it's phase 1, 2, and 3, that's fine, but you're going to get a fixed thing. And then if you want to submit another grant for some other parts of it or different pieces, they may not approve it, but at least you have finite specifics. You don't have to go back and retool and change orders and all the other mess.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn it, Ryan! Why don't you have a crystal ball? Geez, get with the program.
I know. I was kicking myself in the ass for
that. Well, I also want to ask. So everybody who's using the community node for Singapore orchestrators, have you continued to see context deadline errors, or has that been fairly stable?
I haven't noticed anything. The only time
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, that one I isn't something that I'm familiar with, but yeah, the only issue I have, and it's really not a big deal, is if I sometimes if I restart that, I'll do some backfilling, but that was when it was I think it was more when it was like having an issue, like if it would crash or something, and then just seemed to take a lot more backfilling than any other nodes did. But nothing that I would consider an issue. I mean, it's been running for quite a while, and I haven't even peeked. I haven't even looked at it. And it seems to be working fine. So
I noticed some errors, some IO timeout errors that were, came subsequent to a context deadline exceeded error, and my thought is that that's due to latency between Singapore and the service, which is sitting in the U.S. East Coast. So if that
have you thought about putting one of the nodes on?
I could, yes, and I have thought about that. That just wasn't part of my grant proposal. So if I need to go back and make some changes,
but still, I mean, you could use a Contabo for that, and it should cost the same amount, right? I mean, it shouldn't be I mean, yeah, it's work on your end, but I mean, as far as like the monthly cost, it should be the same, right?
I would imagine it should be. Yeah, then I come down to, okay, so I still, right now I've got a primary and a secondary that sit in the US. If I move one of those to Europe, if failover has to occur from either one of those nodes, then all the requests are going overseas at that point. I don't know if that would create issues, or if I realistically need a primary and secondary in both the US and in Europe. That's what I'm trying to weigh here.
I mean, I could just give you my opinion, which is only, obviously I don't have any firsthand on it, but it seems to, I mean, like, again, my like Singapore node seems to work, I mean, relatively fine using the East Coast one. So I would assume, especially if it's just a backup, may not be ideal, but I would still think it would be better to have them split into two, at least, if nothing else, at least two different data centers than sitting both in the exact same data center, just because then that gives you another point, or just a single point of failure if something was to happen with that data center with their connectivity, although probably not super likely, but
well, I'll talk to Livepeer and see what they're willing to support.
Yeah, and again, I don't know that you would need like full redundancy there, or even to even add another node. It just really would be more of like changing a node. But you're running it, and it seems to be working. So I'm gonna let you obviously make that decision.
Yeah, overall, the ARB node has been really, really amazing. So again, thank you Ftkuhnsman for all your hard work, and I'm glad to continue on supporting that thing. And I'll let you know if anything else comes up. Does anyone else have any questions about, I guess the topics were the last 2 weeks of streams, and I guess the community ARB node? Does anyone else have any other questions about that or comments? Cool. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, things are pretty smooth so far. It seems like, I will say about the last 2 weeks, LA was really choppy like 4 days ago. It was like really up and down, like weird, like clearly streams weren't streaming properly, but they seem to have fixed that. So, yeah. Okay, let's, there's a couple new people that have joined us, so let's just go back to introductions. Mikezupper, you want to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hi, Mikezupper, running the Zode app XYZ node since February. I have a million topics, but I think to the kingdom, so I'm just going to continue to listen in and jump in where I can.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us. Alex with Syrinx Node, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Yeah, so I'm the TPM handling Orchestrator experience at Livepeer, and I also run an Orchestrator of my own. I don't have any major topics today, so I'll probably just continue to listen in. But if anyone has specific questions, let me know. I guess the only real update is we have made some progress in getting a Discord integration set up for the incident escalation pipeline. So hopefully by mid next week, that'll at least be integrated in like a sandbox setup. So excited that we're making progress there. And yeah, other than that, I'll just be listening in.
Very cool. Do you have a new microphone or something? Because you sound amazing.
Yeah, I finally upgraded my iPhone and I'm not using my AirPods, but I'm glad that the audio is good.
Yeah, sounds amazing. So great to have you. Wow, we got great audio today. This is amazing. Normally we got some audios that are hard, but the audio is really great today. So I just want to make that comment. Cool. Thank you so much for joining us, Syrinx. Okay, I'm going to jump into one topic that's my topic. Sundara had mentioned in the event chat the ability to patch I guess, install and maybe patch a driver. I guess, so if anyone here I posted this question in the Transcoding channel, and it's about creating like an auto patching script. So rather than going through the keyless patching process where you have to download or roll back your driver and then use the patch it manually, I was wondering if I can create like an auto script where, when you run the pool software, it can just detect what card you have, or at least take a guess. Maybe just because the Quattro cards already have pretty much unlimited sessions anyway, so like just do the GeForce driver and then like have a Python script that just auto patches the driver. Does anyone is that possible on Windows? I know, Sundara, you said something. Could you just elaborate on whether that's even possible or how you would do that? He might not be with us though. It's really late for him. Dang it, that was a bit of a selfish question. Anyone else have any ideas on how you could auto patch a driver? And for the average gamer who maybe doesn't want to do it, is lazy, I think that would also be a nice community script that you could just hand off to people. Like, here, just double click this exe. It'll discover your driver, auto patch it without you having to follow the instructions on the GitHub. Does anyone else have any idea of how you could do that? Come on, we got some smart people in this. You got some ideas. Using Python, maybe? All right, fine. I'm going to be...
The only thing that I would know about this is I think modifying drivers programmatically in Windows is just different and deliberately more difficult than doing it in Linux.
Yeah, Microsoft's real strict. That's why I tend not to develop on Windows in general. So it's not like we don't have ideas. It's just Windows is real strict. I don't know what kind of success you're gonna have there.
Solid question, though.
Okay, well, I mean, the other question is this, a unrealistically difficult task that needs, like the solution is right now I just have a YouTube video, which is like, in 3 minutes, I'll show you how to patch your driver, click here, click there. And like, for the most part, everyone in the pool, or like typically everyone in Discord, doesn't have much of a problem with patching. It seems like back a year ago, people had lots of questions about patching their drivers. It seems as though that question has pretty much vanished. Like, new orchestrators coming in, figure it out. There's not really any questions around it. So maybe it's not worth like trying to streamline. But I'm just thinking from like an end user of a pool, like they literally just want to double click a button and like have it run, right? Like the thing patches itself, it runs, you just double click the button and it goes, right?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. I mean, I can send you a few things that you could read about Windows and how some of that stuff would work, and maybe you can find an answer in there, but I don't have a definitive answer for you.
Well, there you go. Any resource would be great. If you just want to throw it into event chat or DM me, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll dig up some links and shoot it your way, and that way at least you'll know what you're facing.
Even if it like, yeah, I guess if it just like looked up the driver you had and just attempted to patch it, or could you just like copy the DLL file from like another patched machine and just copy it onto another machine, or is that not gonna?
That's what I was thinking originally was, you know, maybe you could have a patched version of like, you know, each of the different driver versions as have a patched copy of it, and you just overlay that file. That might be an area where you'll have some success, but I think there's a Windows way, of doing it, right? There's a proper way. I just think it's going to be complex, but that copy overlaying an already patched driver might work, you know, especially if the user on the PC has administrative rights. If, as soon as you don't have administrative rights, all that stuff goes down the drain.
Right. Yeah, so you could almost like, you know, it would be pretty easy to look up the driver version from a command line tool.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
You know, and then like, you know, you have a patched DLL for each version, and it just downloads the one that you have. You know, it's just overwrites
Your
it.
code's going to be like, if it's this version, copy this file. If it's that version, copy that file.
Yeah,
right. But you would have all the combos there so that the right one would get there eventually.
Yeah, and attempt to overwrite a System32 file with this unaudited exe that you downloaded off the internet. Great.
Right. That's the Windows stance, right? That what you just pointed out is why they don't want doing that.
Right. I mean, already Windows pretty much deletes my exe as soon as you download it. So like, I'm not off to a good start. But now it's like modifying.
Well, what you have to do with your exe if you don't want it to be deleted is there's a process to actually sign and verify your executable. So you can go through a process that says, I'm Titan Node, I'm certain. It's like like the DNS challenges, the TLS challenges that you usually do for like setting up SSL certs. You can sign the certificate of your exe saying, hey, it's a valid signed software. It's a trusted company. We've signed it properly, through whatever the verification process is, and then you'll never get that warning again. So it's just because you're putting an exe out there that's, quote, in terms of Windows perspective, untrusted. Macs do the same thing, right? If you download a Mac file that's not signed, Apple's going to say, hey, you got to go to your settings and allow this untrusted program to run, or we won't let you run it.
Yeah.
Code signing is for the cert is a little expensive. I don't know if there's a open source, like I know you could do it for like SSL certs and everything for free, but I don't know if you could do code signing for free. Otherwise, I think it's like over $400.
Yeah, with Microsoft, it's problematic because to sign and verify, it's part of like getting certified with Windows as a valid publisher. And I think that's where the costs come in.
And I think too, if you change the code, you have to recertify.
Every time, that's right.
So, like, I push out frequent updates that are like, oh, hey, look, like, I changed like letter Y to letter X, and it's like I have to recertify the whole thing.
Like, yeah, they might allow you to do recertifications for free, but
you still got to pay to get set up. That's the upfront part is the problem. Signing you can do, but I don't think there's a charge for that. But you still have to do it every time you make an update.
Yeah, and then how many System32 files? I mean, that's a question. Is the Livepeer software signed by chance? Like, it seems like it doesn't have any issues.
No, well, they don't deliver the exe directly, right? It's a zip file. Then you unzip it, then you can click on the exes. So the zip file is a trusted type of file.
Right, but then once you go to run it, it tells you it's not. It's not.
Yeah, if you double click on it, it will. You'll have to make an exception for it once you double click on it. That's right.
Right. There you go. 2 questions that I have. Is it worth certifying?
Yeah, I would say, you know what, since no one's really complaining about it, especially recently, just push them to the video that shows you how to do it. I think it's just going to be a lot easier.
You can also do, I mean, if you want run it through Virus Total, get a Virus Total link, and then that way you could send it along with people just in case they're a little concerned. I mean, it's not like a definitive, like, trust me thing, but at least if they want, they can go and re-upload what you've sent them into there, and they can double check it, and it's relatively reliable. So that way it'll kind of help them trust you a little bit more.
I feel like the people downloading my software aren't too worried about downloading viruses. Like these people, like, generally speaking, these people are just like, oh, I want to earn money. Like click, like, I'll double click any exe. Like, let's go, right? So I don't think, like, I don't think the people in my pool are, and a lot of people have like dedicated machines with nothing on them. Like, it's not their daily game, or, well, I don't know, maybe not. But
I mean, if people have run other mining software, none of it's signed, so they're they're probably just putting it in that same category of like, yeah, I guess this is just kind of the price to mine.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I guess
but obviously it would be better to have it, but if I didn't know you, I'd probably be a little bit more sketched to run it. But then again, I mean, I do have mining software running on machines, but I also don't put anything else on there, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of just par for the course. So.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll see if I can just override the DLL on like another machine and just see if like that actually patches it properly. Because, like,
yeah, that will work. If you have administrator rights, you can copy the DLL over. It will patch.
Even if it's on like a different machine.
For Windows, it won't matter as long as the Windows version's compatible, like x86 or 64. Like if it's 64-bit or 32-bit, as long as that's good, Windows 10, Windows 11 will be compatible.
Okay, well, that seems like a doable option, because then I don't have to get them to reinstall a driver or anything. Although they might have to roll it back. There's been problems with the patch being too outdated.
Yeah, your script would say, if the file's here, copy it, and then copy the patch one. And if they roll it back, just rename the backup, and then delete the patch version.
Well, there we go. All right, that's a simpler
Good
fix.
luck, man. It sounds like it sounds like a lot of work for a small number of people. So to Papa Bear, you might want to, if you're coming up, then maybe, but maybe not worth the effort.
I mean, my target audience is like people who people have texted me like, "Hey, how do I do this? Like how can I join your pool? Like, can I just go buy a computer and run this?" And it's like, well, maybe we should try make it that easy. Like, these are not Orchestrator people. They don't need to be technical. I just need their GPU in their house, right? So like, if I can make it that simple, like, I feel like, yeah. Anyway, these are just some thoughts I have. How do you make it super
good,
or at least an attempt? Like if I can, like, if it fails the benchmark, then you can say, would you like to attempt to try auto patch, right? Like, it's just an attempt. Like, even if it only works on like 20% of the machines, like, that's okay. It's just an attempt. Otherwise, go watch the YouTube video, right? But I just wonder, like, how useful. I mean, yeah.
Anyway. It might be easier to just go, like, show them a video, like a quick video, like a 10-second video that shows them how to look at their driver version, and then say, look at your version. Once you know it, go to my repo and download this DLL and paste it here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, have a repo with all the, and then they can just grab the version and copy it. Then they don't need to know about key lace and all that other stuff that you have to do, right?
Yes, downloading more files off the internet to put into your system.
Yeah, baby.
Folder. Great. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. I'll have to think about this more. I like the ideas, though. Thank you so much for bouncing that idea around. Simplify it maybe, just, and like, yeah, because otherwise, right now it just tells them to go watch my YouTube channel on how to do the keyless patch. So.
a little more focused, but not automated completely.
Yeah. I mean, but how do you scale up to 1,000 people in a pool, right? You want to try automate as much as possible.
Well, I set up Livepool exe, and I don't recall ever being instructed to patch my driver. Like when I went through that, I don't recall that part. Now again, maybe that
It just
transcode
assumes you
one
did.
session.
It
Oh
just
yeah,
assumes you did it
exactly.
already.
That's what I'm saying. So that
Yeah,
transcode is getting one session. That stinks for him.
Yeah.
No, it won't run
Livepool
unless
is very.
it won't run. It won't run if you don't.
Oh, it
patch
won't
it,
even
so.
run. Oh, geez,
No.
I didn't know that. Okay.
That's the number one thing on. I mean, it doesn't seem like that many people are joining Livepool lately, but that used to be by far and away like, what's this? What? And everybody just patch your driver. Here's the link. Here's the video. Here's the link.
Wow, I just did it and it worked. I never had an issue, and I
Were you using a Quadro card by chance?
No.
Oh, well
GTI, the 1070 stuff. I did have some Quattro cards too, but I'm saying that when I initially started, it was, I had a couple, 1070s and do them in and fire it up. And then I did it on Windows, did it on Linux, and I did it on Docker. Everything was working. It just worked. Like I didn't have to do anything special. So kudos to you, Titan, on that one, by the way.
Well, I think also Livepool starts you off at a max session of 3.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still need a patch to run that.
Yeah, you do, don't you?
I mean, it was like by far and away the most asked thing, and it wasn't even, people didn't even know what they're asking. They were saying, "Why isn't this working?" Here's a screenshot. What happened? Patch your drivers. Here's a link.
Patch your driver. Here's the link. Patch your driver. Here's the link. I know. I'm just, I think I had this idea, like, I think this question came up in the Livepeer Summit. Like, it came up to the orchestrator, like, how simple does Livepeer aim to be? Like, is it gonna be like a one-click, like, install orchestrator experience? And I've been thinking about this more, and like, I don't think the orchestrator needs to be a one-click install. Like, the orchestrator is a technical position. It requires.
It's funny you mentioned that though, Titan, because I to be honest, I've gotten DM'd. I say hi to everybody coming into the Discord, just waving, and people wave back. But what I've noticed is every single person is like, "Yo, I want to start mining, man. I saw Titan's video. I'm doing it, man. What do I got to do?" Like the one guy was posting in the chat the other day, "Yo, I got AWS credits. I want to burn them up and get a node." And I was like, he started DMing me in private, and the conversation is basically, "Yo, I want to set it up quick and see how much money I can make and see if I want to do this." But I was like, "Really? Like that's not?" He's like, "Yeah, I read the stuff online, Livepeer, just run this exe and boom, now you're rocking, right? Yeah, I got to activate my orchestrator, but that's just clicking yes, 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 next, next, right? Like that's the thought." And I was like, "Well, you might want to reconsider that idea." And I explained to them what is actually involved, and they're like, "Oh, wow, really?"
All of us are children of Titan Nodes videos, and all of us got baited into that trap, and then we got into it and we're like, oh shit, this is way more in depth than we thought.
Well, I said the same thing to Hunter and Quentin from the Livepeer team. I was like, you see all these YouTube videos coming from Livepeer. It's like, dude, they got minting NFTs, they got video NFTs, they got all this AI for auto action of all this stuff. And then when you go in and start trying to load it up and build your infrastructure, it's like, whoa, like, this stuff in there, like it's not, there's no there yet. It's kind of there, but it's like it's just rough edges everywhere for all of it. And then, I said to them, don't let the marketing get ahead of the development team. If they get too far ahead, and we're all in trouble.
It's funny. So I'm still following up on them for the grant to review the Windows side, and I think maybe Titan. I don't know if you're the one who tested my code this weekend or the installer, but I fixed some things. But basically, they're just like, not everything runs right away, and some of it isn't very clear, and you need to change some of this stuff over. And I'm like, wow, what is it? What is the saying? The kettle and the pot and black and everything. I don't know, but basically saying like, this isn't clear, and I'm like, dude, it's clearer than yours. Like,
yeah. So yeah, I kind of figured like it's an orchestrate, like a pool operator, like, and I'm like, Nico's the only other pool operator, and he seems to be just kind of MIA from Livepeer in general these days. He's doing the tenderize.me thing. But I think it's the pool's job to simplify it for transcoders. And then the pool operator is the technical one. And yes, I hope I rounded all you guys up with a simple step-by-step instructional video, which now you realize is a rabbit hole.
You took the bait.
Took the bait. That's okay. I took the bait from Nico. Okay. Anyway, we'll move on from that topic. I spent too much time on it, but thank you all for entertaining me. Okay, here we go. Eliteproxy, netint cards. Give us the down low. Give us the up high. What have you experienced so far?
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yep. Good. So yeah, I bought 2 of the netint T408 transcoder cards, and I've been trying to get. So at first, he just sent me instructions for Linux, right? And I assumed it only worked in Linux because the guide said recommended operating systems Linux-based stuff, and it didn't mention any Windows. So I do have a Linux node, but I also have a Windows node, and I was impatient. So I emailed them to see if they had a Windows guide, and they provided one. And I started digging into it, and it basically involves installing MSys, which is like Mingwen. I was disappointed to find that I can't use like Ubuntu WSL, like Windows subsystem on Linux or anything, because it doesn't virtualize the hardware. But apparently MSys 2 does. So that's sort of the entry that I haven't really figured out all the pieces of it yet. Ivan had mentioned in the Discord about, you had to compile some stuff and basically compile Livepeer, pull some DLLs out of one and put it into the other, or something like that. Basically, I'm just trying to get the basic netint software to run, so I haven't gotten to that point yet. The guide for Linux was really straightforward, but I haven't been able to get that into my Linux box yet, and I probably won't be able to till another week or 2 from now. Like I'm thinking start of June, that weekend. But yeah, they're very basic cards. They don't have any fans installed or anything. There's just like a heat sink, sort of like this aluminum heat sink, and just a board. They fit pretty good into the system. I'm just excited to see the low latency with it if it works out. And I understand that the Livepeer release isn't necessarily stable, but I was hoping maybe the benchmark part of it I could use. But it sounded like there was a little extra to do. So yeah, right now I'm just trying to get to a point where the system will recognize the card, sort of like installing drivers. It's so beyond, just like the Nvidia stuff. You just install a driver, run the exe. But on Linux, it's many different steps of compiling things, and I think there is the other piece of getting it to. I guess there's some sort of like signature. Like almost like there are fast verification stuff. I think you have to build that in somehow. So I don't really know where I'm at with it, but so I'm just hoping to spend a little more time this weekend getting into it. And like I said, I've got MSys installed and been going through those steps there, just trying to basically compile FFmpeg and compile Livepeer with that. Where I'm at right now.
If you give up on Windows and you decide to go all Linux, let me know. I mean, I compile my Linux kernel, so like I'm real good at the intricacies of building software on Linux platforms. So if you get there and you start getting hung up, let me know. I mean, I might be able to help you out here and there, but the Windows stuff, man, you're on your own. Good luck.
I definitely will. Yeah, the Mingwen or the MSys adds a whole nother layer of complexity to it. If I figure it out, I plan to write up a guide, post it on the Livepeer forums or something like that, particularly for Windows. I think Linux is going to be pretty turnkey, but I'll have to wait a week or 2 before I can give you an update on that. But we're definitely wanting to put these on the Linux box because that's where most of our traffic is at.
The heatsink, do they want you to put a box fan in there to keep airflow going, or are they like self-sufficient in a box with like no fans?
I didn't get any recommendation on putting airflow on it, so seems
Well, if they have a heat sink, it's
basic.
assumed there's going to be some
Yeah.
airflow, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you get the U.2 form factor? So the one with the weird like integrated plug in the back?
Yeah, that's a good question. I went with the regular the PCI one. Just
nice.
because
Yeah, because I was talking to someone at NetInt, and they were saying that the PCI cards are pretty much meant to have like a little bit of airflow and then otherwise be fine, and generally have like a higher, just more thermal headroom. And then the U.2 ones are intended to be used in a chassis. Because for a while I had some U.2 Intel SSDs, and it's actually surprising how hot they get, because like it's all the same hardware, obviously, just in a smaller package, and unless you have a fan like blowing on them, they'll actually just turn off if you get over, I think, like 70 Celsius, which is oddly for computer stuff not
That is
that
really
warm.
odd.
But that's cool. Yeah, I'm still waiting on mine. I was really disappointed when, because I think their like fulfillment department just fumbled, and I bought two as well, and then mine are still marked as shipping, and hopefully I'll have mine soon so I can also add sort of my experience. But if I'm not wrong, the initial experience was pretty okay, right? Relative to what Livepeer had built into like their FFmpeg implementation.
You mean just what do you mean by experience exactly? Sorry.
Oh, I mean, just in terms of like trying to get like test streams, or even just like a test session for benchmarking Go Livepeer with the netted cards.
Yeah, that's really the goal. That's what I'm trying to get to. I haven't been able to do that yet. Even get them to run, or even benchmark, even get the system to detect that it's there. I've had them for a little over a week, and I've been really busy. But again, I'm working with just a Windows machine, so there's a lot of overhead with trying to make all these things work together. Yeah, I actually sat on the Linux guide for a couple days before I asked him about. I think it was Wednesday. I asked about Windows, so it's only been a couple of days. I was busy all weekend. That's the goal.
Do
Is
a
to be able to
USB
benchmark
Linux
it.
boot, like a USB boot to Linux, and then you can still run. You could run your OS on that USB stick and test all your stuff out, and then
Why don't I just do that this
Windows it
weekend?
all.
Okay,
Yeah, if
yeah,
you do
that's a good
that,
idea. Oh, right,
yeah,
yeah,
boot.
that's a good one.
Get it at least USB 3.0. Don't go before
Right.
3. But if you can get USB-C, I don't know if you have it or not, but USB-C probably will give you the best in terms of compiling performance. But just a thought.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time waiting on it to compile, and basically, I was trying to compile FFmpeg. I was running the install. Was it install FFmpeg sh script? It's at the top of the Livepeer repository. I was trying to run that inside of MSys, and it keeps telling me it can't find x265 or whatever. So that's where I keep getting stuck at. And I'm like, it'll just work better on Linux. I know it will. So yeah, that's a good idea. I will give that a try. I've been working on like setting up an Arbitrum node and hard drive issues, corrupted a file system this week, so I've just been real busy. But I'll definitely circle around with that this week and give that a try. That way I can hopefully give you an update this weekend. It's Monday. What am I thinking?
Speaking of Arbitrum node, does anybody want the copy of the database backup? It's about 109 gigs. That's like the snapshot at 13 million or so, almost 14 million transactions. If you want, I can upload it somewhere, try to provide it to you guys.
Yeah, I was testing our stuff this weekend, so I was still syncing one of the other nodes, and I didn't have backup. So if you could post it somewhere, let me know. I'll try to grab it.
You know what? I might actually try that web3.storage thing, see if it'll take it to there.
Good luck. That's awesome if you could do that. Dude, that would be great.
Yeah, for anyone running Arbitrum nodes, I don't know how I did it this past week, but I corrupted a file system, and I think it was just the logging part of it, because I actually had it writing to a dedicated hard drive, but the C drive file system, and it was a new NVMe drive, and it might have overheated. I don't know what it could be, but I think Arbitrum does do a lot of disk action, writing and reading, and then you have logs and stuff. So I don't know. It's something to be aware of. If you're running NVMEs and stuff, keep them cool. I'm a little superstitious. I don't know what the root cause was, but I was able to fix it. But
Our problem on Linux, though, and the problem that I ran into was there's a limit to the number of files you could have open at a given time, and Arbitrum blasts through that limit. So, and I ran for several days before it blew up, and then I didn't realize it. But when it was all done, I did a backup and moved the database and tried to use it, and it wouldn't start. You wait like an hour for it to start, and then it fails because the file's corrupted. So I had a problem on Linux to fix file handles. So if you have that issue, I can let you know what you need to do to correct that.
It's a good thought. I've been playing around with Arweave and did some of those some changes that sound similar to that. So maybe I'd already had that solved.
Yeah, U limits. There's file descriptors. If you set your U limits to unlimited, you learn from experience. Nothing like getting knocked in the head.
Yeah, thanks to Arweave, I was able to avoid that pitfall.
Oh, they gave you the heads up in their install guide. I see.
Yeah, it was. I'm not running Arweave now, but I was experimenting with it, and I'd already set all those file descriptors. So I was lucky on that.
It is a file storage service. If they don't have that problem solved, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, but they're really great cards. I hope to see. I mean, even if it just does 8 streams per card, I mean, I think if I could run 8 streams straight 24/7, I'd just be so happy. So, stack those on, right? So if it's low latency, I think that's worth it. Everybody's looking for like 60 stream capacity, and I'm just thinking, whatever's the lowest latency.
Yeah, do you think they'll be faster? Like, is that the goal from them?
That's my belief. I mean, I could be totally just consuming too much marketing material, but I mean, it said on there, they promise ultra low latency. I think I heard something like in general under 100 milliseconds.
I think also one of the benefits was that it was like obviously low power and stuff, but I think it was also that it does like these cards don't do AV1, do they? That's their new cards.
I think no, I don't think they do. I think it's the newer, maybe it's the 435 Massive that does that.
Because
I could be wrong.
I thought another thing was like if you look at the cards that can do AV1, I think it's the 30 series and higher. And like, so if you go to Nvidia, then like to do AV1, you're looking at like, I don't know, what's the cheapest 30 series card? Like $1,000 or something. I guess maybe not, but I feel like if you can get a netint card for like, that $300 price point or something that can do AV1 and it can do 8 streams of it, like quickly, low power, like all that kind of stuff. That's like the winner, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I should have, now that I have a contact, because, I think the entry point was just going to the website and filling out the form. I didn't really know what else to do. And so now that I've got an email contact and stuff, I've thought about emailing them about the 435 or 438, what it is, the Massive card. I think those are like 4x capacity of the 408s. I think, not sure.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if, like I said, the Nightnode miner, you could almost like create like an ASIC miner based on that tech, right? Get a little motherboard, throw it in. Does it require an external power supply, or is it running off just the PCIe slot?
Yeah, just the PCIe slot. Like when you get the heatsink and you just kind of look through it, because the heatsink's almost like not right on the board, you can look straight through it. There's not a lot of chips on the board, or the ones that they are really small. So it's just almost like one little circuit board and then it looks nice on the top of it, the labeling and stuff, but just basically a board and a heatsink that goes along the whole board. And it's a very thin board with not much else on it.
It's funny you say that. I have an Nvidia card from, I don't know, early 2000s, similar to, it sounds like that card. They are, I haven't looked at those netint cards at all, but you know, without all of the extra stuff on the video card, if you're just looking at the encoder and decoder, you can get that on a small board, and the power usage for that comparatively is a lot less. So that's awesome. If you get that stuff working, I'll be real curious to see how that works, and that makes your Titan miner even more viable. I like the idea of a Titan miner with that kind of hardware.
Yeah, who knows?
Awesome.
I had to. Titan Node Limited is now incorporated a company, so now I can actually maybe push the idea of all this kind of stuff, and have it proper. So.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have an update next Monday, I guess, would be the target, and I'll let you guys know, or I'll post something in Discord. Like I said, when I get done, hopefully I'll have a guide I can kind of tie all this together with and put it on the forums or something.
Very cool. Very, very excited for that. Does anyone else have any last comments or questions about the netint cards or any of that stuff that Elite Encoder is working on? Cool. Okay. We've gone through, it looks like, most of our topics. The only topic is Papa Bear. The Beem feed is not working. Papa Bear, is it working yet? Did you get in?
I haven't tried it again since I first tried.
It says you're here. It says Papa Bear is in online participants.
Well, if you look in the event chat from last week and you see the error I posted last week, I got the same one. It's just like barely scrolling up from where we are now. But yeah, it something went wrong with the player.
It says you're a participant, but you're not online. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I did. I mean, originally log in with my my Ethereum wallet, and so yeah. I mean, it recognizes me. It told me, it's going to send me out a notification when it starts and all that stuff, but it just doesn't want to let me in for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure I've got something just like
blocking it,
but I can't figure out what it is. So.
Yeah, I don't think Beam.xyz really focuses too much on their live stream stuff. Like they're more like content driven stuff, like videos. So I don't know if it's the right platform, like to be scaling this or to be live streaming. Either way, like whatever. It's not like it's a bad idea to live stream it through Livepeer. Plus, at 60 frame rate, 60 frames per second, someone's getting some good juicy tickets at 1080p. Yeah.
Sure.
Feeding it through.
Where are they based out of? Where are they based out of? Who's getting those streams?
I don't know. It's probably going to LA. That's my closest node. So somebody in LA is probably getting this stream.
Well, it's not me.
Let's see. Am I getting any Orchestrator LA? Do I have any that are 60 FPS?
And 60 FPS. I forgot about that part of
it. 60 FPS. Yeah, because it's a different. There's like its own setting.
You don't have any 1080s, so I'm gonna guess you don't have any 1080s 60 FPS either.
Nope. So there you go.
It's easy for me in LA. It's 0 streams for 4 hours, so that one's easy for me to look at my chart.
Yeah, I'm actually transcoding for myself, for Titan, and then 2 other orchestrators, and none of us have it, so I can tell you that.
Oh, jeez.
I want to know.
Is that something broken, or is that a demand thing? Like that's
no.
Frustrated with.
I do have a stream going for Titan and for myself right now, but they're not the Beem stream with the 60 FPS. That's what I meant. We don't none of those 4 machines have that particular stream. But no, it is.
And LA is a remote transcoder. You guys have a remote transcoder arrangement?
I run 2 remote transcoders for 2 different orchestrators, and then I run mine out of here, and then I run in Titan's pool out of here also.
And how do you get rewarded when tickets and all of that happen?
Well, I'm running the for the other orchestrators. I just have I share in a different region where I don't have any capacity with them, so that
Oh,
they
I
do
see. So
they do
it's
the same
a
for me there.
barter.
Yeah.
It's a barter. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then it's just running the encoder. So it's they win their tickets, they do whatever they want with it. If I win my ticket on there, it's comes through my orchestrator. So.
See. Okay. Cool. Awesome.
Titan basically just keeps everything, so that's how that works.
Titan's the LLC Incorporated. You get all locked up.
Dude, someone's got to pay for those corporation fees somehow.
I hear you. Ask Vires. He's got enough green going around.
Yeah, well, that's another topic actually we should talk about at some point is orchestrator protection and just protecting yourself. I've been watching other YouTube channels and especially in other proof of stake protocols, and a lot of legal advice is getting thrown around right now. That's like, hey, listen, like you are running a stake pooling or like a stake node. You're generating revenue. You've got things can go wrong. Like people, and like especially if you're located in the U.S., like people can just sue you, and you need to protect yourself. I have a friend who's a litigator, who's a lawyer, and he was like, one of the problems with being successful is you'll spend more of your time defending your success than you will just trying to achieve more success. That's one of the things I really wouldn't want to see in the Livepeer community is like people become successful and then maybe they get sued somehow and get thrown into some sort of legal battle which they're maybe not prepared for, or you have a shark out there who's just trying to harass you, right? And so that's another thing we should talk about in maybe some sort of meeting is protecting your node, protecting yourself, so that you can operate efficiently, but then also not be a target for low hanging fruit and things like that.
Yeah, I think that's a great topic.
Yeah, because I think Titan Node Limited is incorporated in Hong Kong, so that's the jurisdiction I've chosen, so it's important to also realize like what you want to do to it's just an important topic, I think, because you're exposed to people on the internet. I mean, more so myself. I mean, I make YouTube videos and I tell people how to do things, and so that can be construed as maybe investment advice, or people can, lose money based on the tutorials I give, and so that's not good. Or, if you're staking, you lose your key, someone hacks your key, obviously their funds are safe, but people might not know that. And, if your key gets taken, they increase it to 100% and start withdrawing all the rewards. Like, maybe someone can construe that as being taken advantage of, right? So, yeah, we're just so early in this Web3 stuff that like, don't want to get ahead of yourself in some ways. So that'll be a topic for some other time. Cool. Okay, well, we've been at this for an hour and 50 minutes. Does anyone else have any other topics they'd like to cover while we're here? What I'll do is maybe I'll circle back around to Oshi. Oshi, you'd mentioned that the Graph Day is coming up. I believe you said it was San Francisco or something. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about that and what Livepeer involvement is with that? Because I don't know if everyone is aware of what Livepeer, I think, is sponsoring something there. Are you aware?
So I noticed that Livepeer is a sponsor on GraphHack. I'm not sure, to be frank with you, if that means that you are, sponsoring a hackathon there, or possibly the Graph, is sponsoring that for you. I'm not sure exactly how you're involved with it. All I know is that you are involved somehow.
Yeah, I do believe Livepeer sponsors lots of hackathons. It's one of their shticks, is they spend a lot of the grant money on hackathons. So yeah, hopefully that that is where the money's going. People can hack on Livepeer.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Okay, any other questions before we close out?
Yeah, I have one. So what are you and Chase exactly doing that you both got, you're both winning just tickets like crazy now? What do you guys change over there?
Thank you for asking. I've always wondered, who's got the secret config? What is it? Tell me. I want to know.
You stay up all night and pray to the crypto algorithmic gods. That's what
And
you
how
do.
how many goats are you guys sacrificing for that? I never got the definitive answer on that. How many goats it takes?
Roughly one a day.
One goat a day. All right.
Yes, one goat a day. If you don't not sacrificing that, unfortunately, tickets they just dry up. You're just no good. You're no good unless you're sacrificing a goat a day. So,
all right, I'm gonna have to go grab a bunch of goats.
It's a lot of goats. I mean, you should probably round up your goat farm. I feel like your goat farm is going to be more overhead.
I'm gonna go find the Michael Jordan or the Tom Brady goat. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll speak on behalf of Chase. She was way behind. Like, I mean, months behind. Like, months and months and months. And the problem, she was at 0 tickets. So it was like we weren't sure if it was even configured properly, because it was like, well, how can you just not get one? Like, it's just like, I get being behind, but like not one seems like something was wrong. So we messed around with some configs, didn't change anything, set it all back, didn't change anything, waited 2 more months, and then got 2 today, 1 yesterday, and like 1 last week. It's like, oh, what? So, yeah, I don't know.
They're catching up with her.
Yeah, so now she's basically caught up, and it's like, well, that's kind of annoying. Would have been nicer to be a little more.
Not really though. Like they're like $70, $60 payouts. I think a few months ago they were, $200-$300. Like it slowly went from like 300, 200, 170. Like, and now it's kind of like, I just worry, is it going to continue to go down? Like,
yeah, but that's
I've
largely
seen the trend downward.
Yeah, but that's largely based on the price of ETH. Like 2 months ago, ETH was 50 to 60% more in dollar terms.
But I think more so than anything too, like we're still at a place where many people are drastically behind on the expected payout based on the probabilities and everything that is tracked by what is the Livepeer client puts out to Prometheus or to Grafana, and then also on top of that you're getting values that are dropping down, not the dollar value, but even just like the ticket, face value worth, and then plus with everybody with like there has been times where I got a ticket that was 0.035 or something like that, and then like a day later someone's getting like a 0.09, and it's like, dude, I had like 3 weeks between those tickets, and then this guy gets a ticket that's worth 3x as much. So
I just got a ticket an hour ago.
That's what I was saying. That's what. Oh yeah, you didn't realize that.
I saw that.
That's what made me ask the question. I was like, wait, you guys are now back to back there. So no,
yeah,
I was starting to catch up.
Checks while he's working.
Yeah, no, I was starting to catch up last month, and then this month that just went back to the old school for me. Yeah, so yeah, things have slowed down.
And what did you change? Nothing, right? Like you just left it
Not
all
a thing.
and
Not a thing.
and all
Not
of
a
a sudden
thing.
now things are upside down again for you. Like
I mean, I was still way behind,
crazy.
but at least it was like going, okay, I'm starting to catch up here. I'm starting to catch up because I mean, I've like since I mean, when I first started, I just had the absolute worst luck. I mean, it was like became like a joke, or just in the on Discord, that like I just basically never got paid for anything I was doing. And then, you know, I want to take it here, take it there, but still always behind. And like I said, I'm still, you know, 3/4 of an ETH behind. But at least I was like, last month I was like down to like, you know, half an ETH behind. I was like, all right, this is getting good. This is getting good. But just kind of, that was it. I had a little good run, but I mean, now I do see that it is possible to win several tickets in a row. And, you know, so I have a little more faith in that it is, I think, working more fairly, at least, than I thought it was originally. I just thought that there were some people that, for whatever reason, were just somehow getting excluded from, you know, getting payouts. But you know, now seeing, you know, Chase get a few in a row. I had, you know, several in a row last month. So I mean, I do see it happen, but yeah. So
when you see the
there is-
big X go up, when the X for Zodap goes up, then start screaming to the moon, because you know I want to see the X, and I don't think anyone's seen, since I put the ENS name on there, nobody's seen that X. I'm sure of it.
I've been experimenting.
I've basically given up at this point. So.
And how many of us are like ahead, and how many of us are behind? Like maybe, like in here in the chat. Does
I'm
behind.
by about 150% for what I should be. Like I'm expected for like. Well, my tracking's a little off, but I'm about a half an ETH behind. I haven't even won a half ETH.
Wow. Okay, because I just got ahead like I think it was like last week. I got like back-to-back 2 tickets, and I think I'm ahead by like 60 or 70K tickets. So I was like wondering, like, how is it, like some go ahead and then some just like get behind, or is it like somewhere on the level with their payouts?
Welcome to the world of micro probabilistic payments.
Yeah, but I think Ftkuhnsman, like, I think he has like a smaller payments. Maybe he's on the even.
So like I have done, like right now I lost a lot of my Chicago tickets because we had data from there and we shut it down, and I had like 150 or so thousand tickets, but so did Authority. I have 616,000 tickets tracked right now in Grafana. He has almost 800,000, so 200,000 more, but he's also about 1.25 times more tickets. He has 0.89 for Ethereum one, and I have 0.35. Right, so it's and we're basically transcoding from the same servers, doing the same scores and everything. And I mean, he has more ETH than me, but our ticket counts are about like 200K off. Not he doesn't have
What's the stake
125%. His stake is higher. His stake's higher, but like I mean, his average
big
is
factor.
Yeah, but his average is 2.8 and mine is 3.9. Like we basically transcode around the same amount on and off. Like like sometimes I'm higher than him, sometimes higher than me. But our tickets per day is about always the same. Like I have more tickets per day than him right now. But we also have about the same ticket count as well, and he's drastically ahead of me. It's just like there's times where I transcode for weeks without anything. Before it was, I think my first ticket took me 3 months to get, and I was basically doing like anywhere between 3 and 5 average, for 3 months and without anything. So not like, definitely not good.
Is there anybody who's ahead in here?
I think I'm ahead.
Yeah, I'm ahead by 60K tickets, I think. Like 60,000 tickets.
Okay, so we got two who know they're ahead here. That's good to hear.
And how long have you been running if you're ahead?
I just got ahead like a week ago because I won back to back like 2 tickets. Because I was behind by like 0.30 ETH. And then I won.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I just said that I got like a couple of tickets like right around like a couple of weeks ago, and then I just got ahead quickly. So
yeah, the funny thing is I set up my Orchestrator in February, and the first like 2 weeks I didn't even realize I wasn't patched properly, and I was CPU transcoding, and I won a ticket. And then like 2 weeks later, once I fixed it, I won another ticket. Like, yeah, this is it, baby. Let's go. Titan's right. I'm gonna make that money. And then I bought, VP, S's and nodes everywhere, and I haven't won a single ticket. Well, I won one actually about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, and then that was it. But I put out this GPUs geolocated, all the transcoders everywhere, latency. You could see my nodes on, the leaderboard, the top 5 on every single region, but work-wise, and I got some stake recently too, and I thought, yeah, I get some stake, now I'll get some streams, but nothing's changed on the streams with the new stake, so it's like, I'm scratching my head. If you're ahead, God bless you.
Yes. Go ahead.
On an unrelated note, it looks like we might be getting a new release soon. I see 0.05, 0.31 in the build, so not official yet, but it looks like there'll be something new coming out. Just throwing that out there.
Go ahead and install that. I'm gonna wait on that one.
Nothing related to what we're talking about, but I was getting bored.
Well, as it relates to that, I have a new test setup now that I set up so that I can actually run those tests. I was trying it on my real nodes, and I'm not doing that anymore. I have a totally separate test set that I can run those tests, promote it, because it's make a change and your streams go to 0. Well,
that was the first one where there was been a problem. I mean, I will say, because I'm usually like the first to switch it out right away, and I've never had a problem.
No, we had a bad release a couple months ago, late last year, where there's a memory leak. Remember that? It's the second time I've seen any issues ever.
Yeah, that's true. That was, I think, when they introduced the fast verification, right?
Yeah.
Or one of the verifications.
Hopefully this new release, they were able to retain that netint support. That's kind of why I jumped on the bandwagon. So, looking forward to that new release personally.
Very cool.
Definitely worth trying out for that.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack there.
No, that's all right. You took us right to the time. It is now exactly 2 hours on the dot. We've been at this water cooler chat. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate you joining in on the weekly water cooler chats. I think this was one of the most successful ones. We had 14 people in the speaking spot on stage. So I think that's a record. So that's really cool, seeing as how like the market is down and lots of people are like freaking out about Terra and Luna and like, crypto's dead, maybe crypto bear market. Livepeer seems to be trucking on. Pretty like impressive. I mean, a year ago today, like I remember you'd log on to Discord and like sometimes there wouldn't be a single thing said in 24 hours and you'd be like, oh, okay, like it's not that active, right? And I don't think it's like that anymore. I think it's permanently kind of grown to the point where there's like constant activity, constant growth every day. So that's pretty cool. To have 14 people online at once every week to do this is like amazing. So
Titan, can I just jump in with a couple more words before we sign off? Awesome. Thank you so much. I just wanted to thank you guys for having me on, and it was super interesting for me to sit back and listen to you all discuss, your various hardware, software, node operation challenges that y'all were sorting out. And do apologize for, getting a little bit too deep into the weeds earlier. I think I might have misassessed the sort of cadence of this forum a little bit. But yeah, just wanted to kind of, reiterate essentially that I would love to continue discussion with anyone who's interested. If anyone wants to shoot me a DM or whatnot, I do think this is something that could potentially have some cool use cases. I remember there was a gentleman earlier who mentioned needing to write a subgraph, I think, or something essentially to track whether orchestrators were active or not. That's definitely something you could do through the GUI that we're building, as well as possibly even just kind of like awarding badges to help delegators choose, orchestrators that are doing a good job, things like that. So yeah, really just curious to kind of suss out the vibe from you all in the community and any ideas you have. So if you would love to continue discussion on that, definitely hit me up. And if you are interested in participating in, the hackathon, like we'd be stoked to bootstrap reputation subgraph for you guys to work on and iterate on if that is something you're interested in. And for the hackathon specifically, there's going to be some prizes there too. So if you do build the winning kind of reputation subgraph that gets approved by the community, probably couple $1,000 in it for you. So yeah, hope to continue discussion, and thanks again for having me.
Yeah, great to have you, Oshi. If you could throw into the event chat, just 2 channels above this, just throw in I'm curious about the GUI. I don't know if it's released yet, but a link just to like the product or software or whatever that's doing, or a link to at least where we could get started with researching it. That would be really great. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I will drop a link to soulbound.xyz, which is Subgraph Studio. That's the GUI that I've been talking about. It's definitely WIP right now. A lot of development going on there, so it's not functional yet, but you can definitely kind of suss out the vibe there a little bit, and I'll drop a link to emblemdao.com as well, which is kind of the product website, and where essentially you can see badges that we're awarding to the graph currently for things that they're working on.
Very cool. Great to have you, and great to see everyone again. So we'll reconvene next week, and I will see you all then. Cheers.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Same.
Adrian, are you in this? I'm still streaming right now. It's still going on. Adrian, are you in this live stream with me? Are you able to unmute? Like, if we had a conversation, are you able to unmute to have a conversation through beam.xyz? I guess I have to wait for it to get to that point. This is kind of weird right now because I'm like live streaming through an RMTP on the back end, so I'm not like live in the browser. So it might not make sense to do that, but it's disconnected. Well, I disconnected anyway. That's fine. Well, anyway, bye-bye.